Hello and welcome to A Wheel Thing TV. I'm Dave Knoll. This week's episode we're checking out the Audi S1. This is Audi's S1. It's the baby of the range, in the S range that is. You've got the S3, the S4 and RS4 and all those kind of things. This has got a 2-litre engine, a Quattro or all-wheel drive system. A 2-litre engine with 170 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM and 370 Newton meters at a very usable 1,600 to 3,000 RPM. So it's always on tap, right in the middle of the rev range. Makes overtaking pretty damn easy. And acceleration, well, it's a little bit slow, I say laughingly. 5.9 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour. And after all that, you still get 7.1 litres per 100 Ks on a combined cycle. It's distinguishably an Audi with the koala nose grille, as some like to call it. LED driving lights, the xenon high intensity discharge in there as well. In this case, it's a very red car with a little bit of brushed aluminium down the bottom, like almost gunmetal grey for the wheels, grey for the seats, but it's a little bit tight on the inside. It's a little bit of a small car, but it doesn't help by being pretty much black apart from a few splashes of red, as you can see on the console and also on the back of the driver and passenger seats as well. It's not the biggest of luggage bays. You do get some LED lights just on the other side of the bay though if you're leaving the hatch up and doing some work. Underneath the cargo, it's all taken up by battery and safety equipment and obviously helps in weight distribution as well. A slightly annoying feature of this particular car is that in order to have the radio on while the ignition is off, you'll get a beeping noise that tells you that the battery is being discharged. So to do this we need to basically have the engine running. So I can show you a nice cleanly laid out little center console here, matte black, very easy to live with. Drive select, which if you press that comes up with different modes up on here, and you'll recognize that little center screen from other cars in the Audi VW Skoda group. A little bit of chrome and red flashing just in here to brighten up the thing. And on here, as you can see, you've got the 4 corners of the screen operated via the 4 little buttons either side of this particular selection. So let's have a look. We've got settings down at the bottom. If we press down there, it'll come up with all the various bits and pieces for the radio. When it comes to the actual screen itself, you've got a menu button, and you can scroll through here, and it gives you all the various features. And once you press that little button just in there, let's say we're going to navigation, we'll press that and it'll then come up with a map, and you then operate all your features again once on here. As you can see, it's a 6-speed manual, a very well balanced 6-speed in this case. Nice little alloy pedals in there, and it's a very light machine to move around. You can also dawdle around up to 5th in around 60 kilometers an hour. There's no real need to be flogging the living daylights out of this. It's such a well balanced setup overall, and it's a very enjoyable car to drive under the most of the circumstances. With the tyres that we've got, 225/35 on 18-inch rims. These P0s absolutely grip, and they certainly do a fantastic job hanging the car out through corners and that kind of thing. Only downside is the suspension is just a little bit too harsh going over your main city style bumps and thumps. Otherwise the car flows together quite nicely, especially with this Quattro all-wheel drive system. As you can see on the screen, it's been averaging at around 9.5 litres per 100 kilometres as we flick on through a few of the other little bits and pieces here. 8.1 litres per 100 as a bigger average overall, so it's not too far off the mark, covering 334 kilometres so far, with an expected range back at the other end of around 130 k's. So call it 500 k's out of the tank in this car. Makes it a little bit hard to enjoy in a city cycle. It's probably very nice for a nice big long freeway run if you're going out in the weekend. Otherwise expect to be probably filling up maybe twice a week, or at least topping off twice a week at the very least. Thank you Audi Australia for coming back to the A Wheel Thing garage. It's been a lot of fun to have this car. It's a very enjoyable car to drive. The only real downside in the driving experience, apart from the other bumps and thumps on some of the car parks and that sort of thing, is the fuel economy. It does say 7.1 litres per 100 on a combined cycle, but unfortunately because it's a small car, you can only fit in a small tank, and that does tend to limit the range a little bit, especially if you're going to use it mainly for city style driving, as this particular car has been. Outside of that, it's a huge amount of fun, and it's been an absolute delight to have the car back in the garage, and I'm sure for anybody that enjoys a very sporting style of drive, this should be on your shopping list. For A Wheel Thing TV, I'm Dave Canole.